productive. And it fills our head with a bunch of negative ideas, negative attitudes. And those negative attitudes contribute to how we try to manage our life. Uh, I'm not going to argue the point of evolution or creationism. That's an issue that somebody else can argue. I will tell you, however, with me, from what I have observed, what I have studied, um, it is obvious that the human being is centered towards certain functions. If you remember the movie Gremlins, you were given admonitions. Don't feed them after midnight. Don't get them wet, and for reasons, but something bad would end up happening. It's the same with the human being. Um, if certain things do not happen, then there's going to be negative consequences. And I think that's important to keep in mind. And another thing that's important to keep in mind is that if you're a person who has no mental health issues, who knows how to live, who knows how to have fun, enjoy life, deal with the challenges of life, in a productive, coping manner, there isn't anything wrong. But not all people are the same. Not all mental health illnesses are the same. Not all people suffering from the same mental health illness are the same. None of us walk through life, experiencing every experience the same way. We as people, as human beings, well, we are biological, but we are also, excuse me, I'm just doing a little administrative something. We are biological. I'm going to say this right now, and I'm not going to start a debate. I plan to do this long enough that people in the audience may want to argue the point. I have no desire to argue the point. We were made by God, and we were made by God in a certain way, and that means we're spiritual. Okay? And this is not a religious channel. I'm going to stick to science. I'm going to stick to mental health issues, depression, anxiety, the main focus is how we harm ourselves with our thoughts, with our inner voice. The sources can be from many different places. That's understandable. It doesn't matter where the source came from. What matters is that we understand that we have all the necessary skills to deal with it. Somebody may not have told you that you're in charge of your own thoughts. I know you tried, and and I'm going to leave admonitions all over these videos. The next point I was going to say is that it will be live, but I'm recording it, and I'm going to upload the video onto YouTube. Excuse me, YouTube. Okay, so the basics. An individual can experience mental health distress to the extent that they're not able to concentrate. They're not able to think. They're not able to control their thoughts. And thoughts control, as far as I'm concerned, thoughts control emotions, and emotions control behavior. Of course, you gotta factor in sensations. Okay, so if an individual is suffering from mental health distress to the extent that they're not able to relax and concentrate and meditate on what's going on. And meditate to me is just thinking. It's asking yourself questions. It's asking yourself the question, what am I feeling and why am I feeling it? That's very important, because regardless of what we have been through in life, we can control it. The worst, just imagine the worst. If I say child abuse, just imagine the worst. War, surviving rape. The pain and suffering that we feel is under our control. Now, it is true that a person who is feeling a certain amount of pain can experience automatic pain just by trying to confront their fear or the source of their pain. That is true. That's why relaxation is important, to first relax the physical body. When you are anxious, when we are anxious, our heart rate is up. That means our blood flow is up. That means that the brain is getting more blood than it really needs. Now, you want to talk evolution, fight or flight, preparing to defend yourself, all of that makes sense. But when there isn't a real threat, and that's the important thing right there, and you'll hear that I'll sort of snicker now and then, and I'm not doing it as a judgmental way. For me, really, it is very easy to start working on life and start, you know, not dissecting, but start reducing and eliminating and fixing, start working on the issues that we are encountering. So everything you've ever heard about relaxation, every joke you've seen on a sitcom or wherever, it's true. It's breathing. It's sitting in a place, quiet place, feet on the ground, hands on your lap or whatever, and just breathing in and breathing out, and not trying to think of anything of great consequence. And it is important for individuals who have great distress to practice relaxation. There's a thing that I call a cycle of pain and suffering, and we all know it. We all know when we're starting to feel strange or weird, we're starting to feel afraid, we're starting to feel sad, and we all know that we all know the sensations when it's starting to grow, and we all know when it gets to that boiling point and we lash out. Then of course is the aftermath, feeling bad, having made friends, enemies, or family members, or having done something where we're ashamed or embarrassed, and we're trying to build ourselves up, just so it's not that overwhelming of a situation. But if we can practice relaxation and stop the cycle before it gets to that point, that boiling point, where we will lash out, where we will drink alcohol, we will do drugs, get angry at a coworker, get angry at a friend, cause an accident because of road rage. Without a doubt, we are in control. There are no invisible forces working against you. We work against ourselves because of what we tell ourselves with our inner voice. And what we tell ourselves with our inner voice leads to the kind of emotions that we experience. And of course, emotions lead to behavior. Emotional management really is nothing more than just thinking about what it is that I'm feeling, why am I feeling it? If you're a victim of rape, it's understandable you're going to be afraid. It's understandable you're going to have anxiety. It's understandable you're going to have panic attacks. It's even understandable that you're going to withdraw from society. You may have depression. All of this is understandable. But we have to understand also that we can get involved and start helping ourselves. Now, the admonition is if you're so distressed that you're thinking of harming yourself, you need to go get help. And I say that understanding full well that mental health institutions around the world are just useless. What is called the Psychiatric Center here in El Paso, Texas, USA, I would consider completely useless. For a person who doesn't have private insurance and can go see a for-profit psychologist or a for-profit psychiatrist, you're basically left with the government mental health system, and the government mental health system in the state of Texas, as far as the city of El Paso is concerned, I would consider it completely useless. I wouldn't send my worst enemy there. You're not going to get any kind of valuable therapy. You're not going to be taught how to understand your emotions. You're not going to be taught how to understand positive ideation. And I think that there's a lot of power behind positive ideation. We as individuals don't understand that. Some people do. Now, what is positive ideation? Positive ideation is just basically focusing on what's good in life, focusing on being optimistic, on having hope. Instead of dragging ourselves down with our negative inner voice, it's picking ourselves up with our positive voice. There's two options in life. We can either see things as bad or we can see things as good. Okay? Now, when we're dealing with the issues of our life, we really got to ask ourselves, is that a real issue? Because sometimes we spend a whole bunch of energy trying to solve things that really don't require a solution. In the human experience, trying to keep it simple. In the human experience, there's a lot. And like I said, before this froze up, this is the second video. I was doing this earlier and it froze up. But as I was explaining, this is just a general conversation. There's no need for pretense, for ties, for suits. This is an exchange of ideas. Now, granted, you're sitting there in the audience listening, and what people don't do well is listen. We've been told certain things, and we want to do those things, and we just don't understand that those really aren't solutions. Every single one of us has the ability to think. It doesn't matter how distressed we are, we have the ability to think. And that ability to think allows us to put things in order. And that means that we can organize, and after we have organized, we can plan. And of course, the important thing is after we plan, we got to act. I keep writing that people should find healthy, simple pleasures of life. If we're harming ourselves with our inner voice, and we don't like the pain and suffering, we got to change our inner voice, but we also got to substitute that pain and suffering with pleasure. The pleasure we get from music, the pleasure we get from a good book, from a song, music. Television, 90% of it is garbage, but some of it is okay. The human element is probably the best element for healthy, simple pleasures of life. Friendships, interaction with family members. And I'm talking about family as far as the brothers and sisters, aunts and uncles, grandparents. But also there needs to be a special romantic interest. And putting your life where you're moving away from the negative, which is causing you pain and suffering, because you're telling yourself things that are robbing you of hope, that are robbing you of inspiration, and it's leaving you as a person, as an angry, uptight individual who, no matter how hard you try, you just cannot relax. The goal in life for every human being is to have peace, to have love, and to have joy. We are in control. We are in charge. We can pick ourselves up with our positive voice. We can tell ourselves to focus on what's good, validate ourselves in our work effort, put life in order. This is me at work. This is me driving home. This is me, but with my brothers and sisters or family. This is me with friends. And in every part of my life, I'm going to try to exercise simple, healthy pleasures of life in order to have peace, And in order to feel good about myself and to feel good about my accomplishments and to have a good life experience. No one wants to be suffering. Nobody wants to have enormous pain. Everybody would like to get to a point in time where they're free of pain. And again, an admonition, I'm going to litter these videos, these conferences, as I'm calling them, with admonitions, because I can hear the criticism. And if I can hear the criticism, then, excuse me, then I have to answer it, okay? And this isn't about a debate. One of the things that I hate more than anything in life is sharing what I know works and getting into an argument with a person who hasn't meditated as long as I have meditated on these issues. That is frustrating. If you come to me and you tell me I'm feeling depressed, but I don't know why, you know, I'm going to ask you questions like, well, do you have friends you spend time with? Do you have family members you spend time with? Do you enjoy music? Do you enjoy good meals? Do you have healthy television programs that you like? I mean, do you have events in your life that are giving you pleasure, joy, satisfaction, enjoyment? Are you the type of person that focuses on what's good, is optimistic, is positive, is looking for healthy events in life to enjoy life? Or you're a person constantly knocking yourself down by telling you by telling yourself that there's no reason to hope, there's no reason to believe in anything, everything sucks. I decided today that I'm going to go ahead and include politics in this, because I happen to believe that a mentally healthy person is an individual who's civically responsible. And I was listening to Glenn Beck, and sometimes, I mean, there's something wrong with that person. As much money as that individual has, he should invest some of it in professional therapy. Because he's always going off the deep end about the end of the world and how bad things are. And I was thinking to myself, if you look at the liberal perspective and how liberals are behaving themselves, then you're going to come to the conclusion that things are bad. America is not composed of all liberals. In fact, what we understand is over 70% of Americans have conservative spirit. They know about balancing budgets. They know about low taxes. They know about small government. They know about not letting government interfere in their private life and taking the rights away. They believe in the Constitution. So, you know, Glenn Beck is getting upset because of this little thing and that little thing the liberals are doing, but he's not focusing on the big picture. And the big picture is the majority of America is conservative. Now, you can be a person that says the sky is falling. You can be crying wolf. But you got to ask yourself, ultimately, what is it that you want to get out of life? There's a lot of people who are not asking questions. I'll agree with that. There's a lot of people who the life experience holds no curiosity for them. They're just muddling through, getting by, doing this and that, not questioning whether they should be married, not questioning whether they should have children, not questioning whether they should save and invest in a home, not questioning if they should invest in a career, a profession, a business. You know, there's a lot of tears about how much fast food restaurant employees don't make. Well, you'd make a lot more money if you got a business degree. You'd make a lot more money if you started your own business. You'd make a lot of money if you went and found a job that pays more. Crying about how much money you don't make as a fast food restaurant employee just doesn't make any sense. You have to find an adequate solution. And sometimes in life, you have to do that. You have to question. We're not questioning people. But I know that there are people out there who do not like their experience, would prefer not to be sad, would prefer not to be angry, would prefer not to be depressed. You know, and I say this that sometimes I say things the way they need to be said to get people's attention. There's an offensive remark, and that remark is "get a life." In my opinion, modern day depression has to do because people don't have a life. We're not unidimensional, we're multidimensional. We need stuff, a lot of stuff, to keep us, entertained, to take away the boredom. And the way the modern industrial life is so organized that we know how to be, well, we know how to be a machine at work, but after work we don't know what to do. We've been brainwashed to go home and sit in front of the television. I find it interesting that I tell people, if you want to save yourself some money and you have a little bit of extra land, well, grow some vegetables, grow some fruits. You don't have to be eating potato chips and drinking soda. You could eat some healthy vegetables and healthy fruit. And it would be an activity that is keeping you from being on the sofa looking at an electronic device. If you don't have friends, you talk to people. There's a difference between having people to talk to and actually having friends. And friends fill a particular purpose. However, what I see as far as friends, health, if you're speaking with bad words, if you're using vulgarities, perversions, that's not healthy. And again, I'm not going to argue or debate with anybody. I keep telling people, when I write an article, I don't go back and check the comments, because I know what the comments are going to be. And the people who don't meditate on issues, who don't understand things at the level that I understand them at, and they're going to be basically immature personal insults. Don't need it. If you're a person who can't rest, you always feel like you're nervous, you're anxious, or maybe you're sad, or maybe a combination of both. You're frustrated, you had enough, you would like to be able to make changes, you would like to have a different life. I'm the kind of person who would tell you that it's possible. Part of positive ideation is being realistic. I was going to look for it because I actually found it. I was going to use it because a lot of times I forget my own religion, my own theology. But being realistic isn't lamenting your existence. Being realistic is being grateful for what you have and enjoying it. We really do have a lot. I mean, we're alive, we're breathing. Some of us have the ability to walk, use our arms. Some of us have internet, computers, we have our health. You can bicycle, you can ride bicycles, you can take a road trip, buy a book. There's a lot of people who have books in their home they've never read. So the idea that you don't have anything is not correct. You can't watch this video if you don't have anything in life. And you have yourself. And you have your personal skills. And you have the ability to understand that harming yourself with your negative inner voice isn't healthy. You can change. You can start. You can decide that today's the day that you're going to put a foot forward towards a positive, healthy life. It's your decision. Is it easy? No, it's not easy. It's never been easy. It's even I'm just gonna say 2000. I started honing this down to what I call the science of positive ideation, thinking positively. I do believe that we can think ourselves happy. There are things, when we have anxiety, it's because it could be that we're not dealing with certain things. And our subconscious is telling us, deal with this. So I believe in organization. I believe in sitting down and saying, is my life organized? Have I made my bank deposits? Do I have the money in my bank deposits to pay my bills? You know, am I showing up to work on time? Am I keeping the boss happy? You know, am I working my 40 hours? Can I count on my paycheck? And am I living a life that is reflective of the money that I make? Not that you're showing off, it's just that you know you're making $2,000 a month and you're paying your necessities and you're saving. I believe in a minimalistic utilitarian life. You only buy what you need. If you're a single person in an efficiency apartment, you need one spoon, one fork, one knife, one chair, one table. I know that's not the way we live, and I know that causes people a lot of trouble, but that's the reality of it. Okay? Because a managed, organized life, it's a healthy life. And then it comes to what is it exactly you're getting from life? You know, you go to a restaurant, you ask for a hamburger, and you get a plate with fish, rice, and French fries. Did you get what you asked for? No. Is it important? Yes. If you want to be a healthy person, at peace, with love, with joy, no depression, no anxiety, no anger, no rage, no edginess, no uptightness, you can't feed yourself negativity. If you're in a friendship where it's nothing but negative statements, nothing but vulgarity, nothing but perversion, it's not a healthy friendship. If that's how you spend your time with your brothers and sisters, it's not healthy family interaction. I was surprised, say a month ago, maybe a month, 2 months ago, when a comedian got in trouble because of something he said. And what he said is what comedians have been saying for over 50 years. But people are so uptight as far as political correctness is concerned that what you could say yesterday, you can no longer say today. And it's important because in reality, what is in entertainment, what is in media, is rather toxic. I mean, I find it easy to understand why so many people are hurting. I find it very easy to understand why so many people have pain and suffering. I find it easy to understand why people don't have answers. I find it easy to understand why when I try to give people answers, they can't respond to it. And that's all. And I got, you have, well, you got to give a lot of credit to the media. Modern media is negative. End of statement. No need to argue it. Modern media is negative. It's vulgar. It's perverted. It's corrupt. Zero morality. You know, even if you're not a Christian, you'd be way better off watching Christian television, family theater, family movies, because what you find on regular TV is very distressing, but what you find on paid television is even worse. It's no longer funny. It's right down disgusting. And you gotta keep that in mind that when you're interacting with life, you gotta ask yourself, am I getting healthy nutrition? Or am I getting poison? Something that's toxic. Something that will eventually cause me problems. And of course, if you're watching modern television, the answer to the question is you're getting a lot of toxic material. And it's poisoning your brain. And that's why your inner voice can't pick you up. That's why you can't organize your life again around positive ideas. That's why you can't be hopeful. That's why you can't be optimistic. Now, this is as much as a political admonition as it is a mental health admonition. There's a lot of distress among people who look at politics because they believe that the only thing that exists are the actions of politicians. They have no confidence whatsoever that they're going to be able to change politicians, that they're going to stop politicians from doing what they're doing. And if you look at that in that way, it's hopeless. But the other way to look at it is that you're the powerful one. You're the person who's in charge. You are the person who goes out and builds your own destiny. There was, and I happen to believe, I'm going to say something and I'm going to, sort of debate it, but I happen to agree in it. There was this individual who wanted essays, people to write essays about the meaning and power of being ambitious. And ambitious to the extent that you become a Bill Gates or who else, or William Buffett or Mitt Romney. Fine, nothing wrong with it. But what I what I wrote to this person is that it's better to be mentally ambitious. Now I'm paraphrasing, I use different language. And I made the case, I'm gonna get it because it's gonna help. Stay there, don't move. Okay, I think I found it, maybe not. Ah, yes. I tell you, I forget stuff, and it's better if I have a template to work with, okay? So, to review, thinking positive, okay? Being realistic. Being realistic is enjoying, being grateful for what we have and enjoying it. Optimism, the ability to believe, okay? Where does our confidence come from? Our confidence comes from success. When we set ourselves to do something and we accomplish it, we gain confidence. And by gaining confidence, we build our self-esteem. So this is why I need a template, because I have a tendency to even forget my own religion, okay? And that's important because if you're at a crossroad, wow, one page. Pretty sure this is more extensive. Okay, well, if you're at a crossroad, and it's okay to be at that crossroad. I was at that crossroad. I've had it. I had gotten to that critical point of just had it with the tension, the anxiety, not being able to go out and feel, at peace. And I sat there and questioned, why am I doing this? Where is this coming from? Why am I feeling this way? And as I said, mental health issues come from different sources. The biological organism, early childhood abuse, traumas like rape, surviving, attempted murder, going to war, all of that has an effect. Majority of people, it's just going to be one failure after another that eventually is going to convince them that there's no reason to hope. Let me say that again. The majority of people are just going to confront one failure after another, and that's going to convince them that there's no hope. And eventually they'll give up on themselves. Now, everything has an answer. I used to ask myself, where's the solution for the serial killer? Where's the solution for the murderer? Where's the solution for the person who abuses children? Is putting them in jail sufficient? For the answer to the question is no. Is there therapy? Yes, I'm a firm believer there is therapy that can change serial killers, can change murderers, can change rapists. And I'm also, aware of the fact that some of this therapy is going to involve medication. There's just a certain reality that with certain people, there are limits. But the majority of us don't exist in the fringe. The majority of us are not in that group over there. Now, there are some people that will hurt you. There are some people who have gone through a lot of bad things in their life, and they will hurt you. Okay? But the majority of people are just individuals who did not choose mental illness. Nobody stands up and says, I want to be a person who suffers from major depression. Nobody stands up and says, I want to be a person who suffers from psychosis. I see people all day long who have lost it. That's it. They don't have an identity anymore. They don't know who they are. They're just roaming the streets like zombies. Not from regular life stress, but from an indulgence in drug abuse. All this conversation about marijuana legalization, go to any downtown area, but go to downtown El Paso, and you're going to see people whose lives have been completely thrown away with drugs. They may have started with marijuana, it doesn't matter. The point is that these substances have a dramatic effect on the human body, on the biological organism. People say, well, alcohol is legal. Alcohol is a totally different, chemical substance than marijuana, cocaine, heroin, meth. And it is the chemical properties that end up, having the impact on the biological organism as well as the individual person. But the majority of us are not over there. Granted, the people over there can also stop, think, consider what they're living, and ask themselves if they would prefer to have a better life. Nobody wants to live that experience. People do things that they wish they had not done. They don't want to live that life. And I can tell you that the answer is to stop harming ourselves with our inner voice. It is to move towards being positive and optimistic, having hope, believing in ourselves. You don't attack a windmill. You start small, manageable steps, things that you can do. And with every accomplishment that you have, you're going to gain confidence. And the more your confidence grows, the greater your self-esteem grows. I remember when I first, in a little bit of politics, but this is mental health. I remember when I first started listening to conservative talk radio. It was with Bill Bennett, Laura Ingraham, Rush Limbaugh, Sean Hannity, Mark Levin. And there was something that bugged me about these people because they always attacked self-esteem. People like myself are trying to build self-esteem. When we're talking about an individual feeling good about himself, an individual feeling good about herself, by finding healthy, simple pleasures in life, that make life enjoyable, where your focus is what's good in life instead of versus what's bad in life. When your focus is being grateful, when your focus is being, enjoying what you have radio, you have televisions, you have books, you have movies, you have pans and knives and forks. You can cook yourself a delicious meal. You have friends. You want to have the healthy friends. You have family members. You want healthy family members. You want people who are a source of positive energy, not negative energy, because negative energy drains positive energy. Okay. There's nobody that can say that they don't know how to think. There's nobody that can say they don't know how to organize. There's nobody that can say they don't know how to plan. There's nobody that can say that they don't know how to act. We all know how to do this. Some of us are taught to be immature and irresponsible. But when we want to take control of our lives and head in a different road and have a different life experience, we have to be grown-ups. We have to be mature. We cannot be irresponsible. We cannot be the kind of people that will not look at our lives to see what's wrong and to correct what is wrong. Okay? Simple, healthy pleasures of life come in many different forms. A spouse is a simple, healthy pleasure of life as long as that spouse is positive and can look towards the good and can be a healthy romantic partner, builds you up, doesn't tear you down. Children are simple, healthy pleasures of life. You know, vacations, days off from work, recreation, going to the mountains. All right, I'm not a hunter. I don't believe in harming any animal, except the liberal. Okay, so there's so much that's out there, and the only reason we're not able to get at it is because we're negative. If you're going to ask me to summarize, to put it in simplistic terms, to put human psychology in simplistic terms, it would have to be that. That mental health issues come from our inability to deal with them. And the reason we're not able to deal with them is because we're always looking at things in the negative. Our world teaches us the negative, without a question. Death is a negative, divorce is a negative, losing a job is a negative, not having a college degree is a negative, not being a business person is a negative, having depression and anxiety is a negative. You know, so if you lose your job, the message that society has given you is that you're bad. Something's wrong with you. And if you internalize that in your inner speech, if you start telling yourself what society is telling you, you cannot have positive energy. You cannot have hope. You cannot be optimistic. You can't appreciate what's good in life and enjoy the simple, healthy pleasures in life. Because the messages of life are scaring you. Losing a job, you know, whether being fired or laid off, or, you know, the thing closes, no longer available, it's just a reality. It's an unwelcome reality, but how will we deal with it? Death is the thing of life that is going to happen, nothing we can do about it, no crying, you know, no harming ourselves with depression is going to change that reality. Once it happens, it happens. You could believe in Jesus and understand that death is just a step to something better, but this is not a religious channel. When you belong to God, God won't let you alone. But moving on. So when we're confronting things in life, we decide where we put them. We do. Nobody decides for us. We decide where we put things. We decide how we see things. When I first started doing it, I said, we code information with emotional values. We say this information causes us pain. We don't want it. We don't want to deal with it. This information gives us pleasure. Okay, we'll go over here. We'll deal with this. Even though over here is a bunch of friends who drink a lot, who are becoming alcoholics, and who are turning you into an alcoholic. But because it gives you pleasure, you'll go over here. Saying no to alcohol abuse, that's too hard. But we decide. We decide to deal with things in a negative way. We decide to deal with things in a positive way. It's our choice. We are taught the negative. Media teaches us the negative. Friends teach us the negative. They reinforce the negative idea. And if you want to walk away from your pain and suffering, you have to walk away from the negative. And you have to walk towards a better concept of yourself. You have to empower yourself with belief in yourself. You have to believe in you. Doesn't matter whether I believe in you. You have to believe in you. You have to validate yourself. You have to know you're a good person. You have to pursue what's good in life. You need to be optimistic. You need to be positive. You need to enjoy what you have in life and be grateful for it. You need to make sure that the things that you're searching for in life, the things that you are consuming with your eyes, your ears, your mouth, your nose, your sense of touch, you have to make sure that that stuff is healthy, simple, pleasurable. If you follow these rules, you'll realize that eventually you're walking away from the depression, you're walking away from the anxiety, and you're walking toward a more relaxed state of being. You're actually able to feel peace, you're able to enjoy love, and you're able to have joy. Now, I can't go on forever, but I'm going to stop this. And like I said, I'm going to upload the video into YouTube, where it will be there permanently. Here on Ustream, I think maybe 30 days. It doesn't matter, because, you know, as I'm doing these videos, they're going to be taken off. So the old ones will be taken off, but you can find them on YouTube. And I would encourage you to question the way you're living. And if you honestly want to walk away from pain and suffering, then you have to go towards that. And the reason that I'm doing this live is because as much as I will be talking about the same messages, there's stuff out there that I've forgotten. I'll organize myself, I'll bring new stuff in. And eventually, if you listen, you can be that person you want to be.